Before we start, I'd like to apologize because we did bring the computer, we did bring the adapter, and this did look different, but it still works. Sweet.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Today we'd like to present to you our math project. Most people would think that we will show you some complex equations like x equals or ax2, but math is not just numbers and symbols. Today we'd like to talk to you about the most common بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Today we would like to present to you our math project. Most people would think we will show you some complex equations like x equals or ax2, but math is not just symbols and numbers. Today we would like to talk to you about visualizing math and using graphs to do that. Lots of mathematical formulas and equations can be represented by using charts and graphs. To illustrate these quadratic equations, y equals x squared plus 2x minus 5 can be represented by this graph. So we will talk to you now about the most commonly used and known types of graphs and charts in math. I'll leave you silently.
Okay, so the first graph we'll talk about is the bar graph. A bar graph can be horizontal or vertical. It has a category on each axis, the x-axis and the y-axis. Each bar, the bar height is scaled according to the value. So if the value is higher, the bar will be higher. If the value is lower, the bar will be lower. And a good advantage of all bar graphs is that they are very easily compared. They are commonly used to compare different grades and other things. Next we'll talk about stacked bar graphs. Stacked bar graphs are essentially bar graphs that are used for categorizing the parts of a whole. Different colors in each bar show different parts of the whole graph. One of the most commonly used types of graphs is the pie graph. A pie graph is a circular chart that is divided in slices that represent different values. The size of each slice is proportional to the value they represent. If we add all the percentages of the slices of a pie graph, they will be 100%. But some experts recommend avoiding pie graphs because they are difficult to compare. Now I leave you with Shari, who will talk about box plots.
A box plot is a way of displaying the distribution of data in which it is divided into 5 quantities, quartiles. For example, if you have a quantity that is 0, 1, and 2 till 100, the box plot will take 100 as a 100 as the maximum, 75 as the 75 as the third quartile, 50 as the median, 25 as the first quartile, and 0 as the minimum. Scatter plot. Scatter plot is a way, it has points or dots that represent, that shows the difference between two sets of data. Where the dots represent the x and y coordinates, If the dots are colored, then the number is increased to 3. Thank you. I'll leave you with my friend.
Line graph is a scatter plot in which points called markers are connected by lines. Time plots are graphs that display a value against time. They are similar to line graphs and scatter plots, but the only difference is that time should be in the x-axis. As you see in this graph, this is not a time plot because height is in the x-axis and time should be in the x-axis. And now I leave you with Ibrahim as examples of bar graphs and
To summarize, many mathematical equations and data sets can be represented by using graphs and charts that include bar graphs, stacked bar graphs, pie graphs, box plots, scatter plots, line graphs, times plot, and much, much more. Thank you.
After we showed you this presentation, we still have a short video, 2 minutes, to show you. We made it.
When we think of math, we think of y equals mx plus b, or a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or maybe even a equals p times 1 plus r over n to the power of nt. But math is not just complicated and long mathematical equations that are comprised of x's and y's and squares and radicals. Mathematical ideas can be simplified by representing them visually using charts and graphical illustrations. To illustrate, which is more understandable and visually pleasing, this or this? Both actually represent the exact same idea. A newspaper will never tell you that soda consumption around the world is C equal 179 times 1.029 to the power of T, where C is the amount consumed in billions of liters, and T is the number of years since 2000, but it can show you the soda consumption in the form of graph. Moreover, many tricky and complicated mathematical ideas can be simplified by using illustrations. Teachers can take advantage of this to help them teach their students and make them understand. The majority of math students only memorize the formulas and equations by heart, but don't really understand them. For instance, we learned that a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. But why does a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared? This simple illustration makes it very clear why. A plus b squared is a plus b times a plus b. So, if you bring... When we think of math, we think of y equals mx plus b, or a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or maybe even a equals p times 1 plus r over n to the power of nt. But math is not just complicated and long mathematical equations that are comprised of x's and y's and squares and radicals. Mathematical ideas can be simplified by representing them visually using charts and graphical illustrations. To illustrate, which is more understandable and visually pleasing, this or this? Both actually represent the exact same idea. A newspaper will never tell you that soda consumption around the world is C equal 179 times 1.029 to the power of T, where C is the amount consumed in billions of liters, and T is the number of years since 2000, but it can show you the soda consumption in the form of graph. Moreover, many tricky and complicated mathematical ideas can be simplified by using illustrations. Teachers can take advantage of this to help them teach their students and make them understand. The majority of math students only memorize the formulas and equations by heart, but don't really understand them. For instance, we learned that a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. But why does a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared? This simple illustration makes it very clear why. A plus b squared is a plus b times a plus b. So, if we break it down, it becomes a times a, which is a squared, and b times b, which is b squared, and a times b plus a times b, which is 2ab. To conclude, math does not always have to be puzzling, confusing, and hard to understand. Using graphs and illustrations can make math much more appealing and understandable.
Line up here, please. And step down, Professor. The effort is marvelous, okay? The comments are as follows. I've started by putting 3 tick marks. Great, way to go. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, mashallah. All of you, don't memorize. We keep repeating over and over because once you memorize, you are apt to panic and freeze. Have the ideas in your mind, improvise. But of course, to be able to improvise, you need to exert a lot of effort, rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. That's all I have to say. We were really impressed and you were just like a professor, mashallah, tabarakallah. All of you exerted a lot of effort and you were smiling, which is great. You did okay, and the mic is not your fault, so don't worry about it, okay? Thank you very much.